Hi, my name is Seema Jalan, and I'm the Executive Director of the Universal Access Project at the United Nations Foundation. For me, feminist leadership means recognizing the power and leadership potential that it can come from anywhere. It used to be that for women's leadership, that women leaders had to pass the torch. And to me, that's sort of an old school model that there's limited power that, those of us who have been traditionally marginalized have to share. And what's exciting for me to see is that young women in particular around the world are not waiting to have a torch passed to them. They're creating their own torches, lighting that of others. And that's really inspiring to me and really the way that feminist leadership should operate. So feminism isn't just important to leadership in our sector. To me, I think that we have to do things differently if we want to get something done. If we don't fully adopt a model where the people at the decision-making table are part of the solution if they are impacted by a project, then we're wasting our time at best, and at worst, we might even be doing some harm. When I think of really good models, I think of some of the important work that's happening in the climate justice movement, where you've seen some of the most impactful, cost-effective, innovative, sustainable solutions coming from people who are most impacted by climate change. And a lot of times that's women who are collecting fuel or water, firewood, growing food for their families, and they're interfacing with their local environment and natural resources every day. And so it shouldn't be surprising that really important perspectives are coming from those women, but we don't routinely invite that perspective in when we're designing solutions, and that's something I think that we all need to do if we want to see progress. So I'm very lucky. I had a supervisor early in my career that was a real role model and set the tone for me. She would invite me to meetings that otherwise I would not have been invited to. And not only would she invite me, she would actually bring me into the conversation. She would defer to me and make sure I could contribute and be visible. And she did that by sharing the credibility she already had with me. And I'm really grateful for that, and I strive to do that in my career now. Well, I work on reproductive rights out of New York City, so I'm lucky, and I know I'm very fortunate to be here and working with a progressive set of actors in pursuit of reproductive rights. But there's still work to do, and I would say the challenge that I see is that you will see, even in the progressive movement, even with very well-intentioned people, that they can be blind to what leadership can look like. For example, I've been told by well-meaning colleagues that I would be taken more seriously if my hair were straight or if I wore less colorful clothing. And I'm guilty of it too. I can also make quick judgments. And so these are things that we still need to do better on as a movement. I read a really interesting article that if you use the same set of criteria every time you hire, that you're going to hire all of the same type of people. And so it is our responsibility to make sure we're not passively allowing things to continue that discriminate against people's leadership potential. So where I've seen the most transformative, sustainable solutions is when people come together to build a movement, to build a coalition in pursuit of a shared vision. And this is a really feminist way of operating, to build power together, to share resources, and also to share the credit. And so what I do currently at the United Nations Foundation, I work at a program called the Universal Access Project. And we are a collective of philanthropists and activists that work together to engage the US government as a bold and progressive leader on reproductive rights. And in this current moment, we are in some of the most challenging times we've ever had. But despite that, because we used our collective power, we've been able to preserve the largest source of funding for family planning programs globally. More than 20 million women and their partners rely on this funding for their basic reproductive health care. And to me, that's the power of collective feminist leadership. I carry with me some wise words from our founding president at the UN Foundation, Tim Wirth. He always says, "With you at liftoff, with you at landing." And it speaks to me because it reminds me that it may not always be the fastest way to do something, but being inclusive is always going to deliver the best results.